Hey Rebel Rouser, it's Alan Voivod here at Star Wars 7x7 episode 1710. I just got back into the States. I'm finally back home in New Hampshire, though not actually home, still on the road. And, you know, I can't leave the country for like 1 week without some crazy vote brigading thing happening. I mean, come on. I know this has nothing to do with Star Wars, but it kind of does have something to do with Star Wars because it started with The Last Jedi, and then it went on to Black Panther, and now it's happening to Captain Marvel, and now Rotten Tomatoes has apparently taken some steps to try to deal with vote brigading, and they actually took out the want to see graphic that they used to have on there and let people vote about movies that they were interested in seeing before the movies came out. And they said that that was because people were getting confused between want to see and having seen it and rating it, and, you know, I don't know if that was really the case. I mean, you know, maybe they got some user feedback about that somewhere, but I don't think we were at all confused about what want to see means when a movie hasn't yet come out, but be that as it may. So now, you know, and I didn't even mention Solo, A Star Wars Story, which got hit by the vote brigading, but, you know, it's almost a decent comparison between Solo and Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel is obviously not an Avengers movie, and you can compare an Avengers movie, say, to a saga Star Wars movie, for example, because, you know, they basically have similar box office takes, right? None of the non-Avengers movies are playing in the billions, really, except for Black Panther. That was brand new for the MCU. Everything else pretty much plays on a lower level, and the same thing with Solo, basically. So, you know, Captain Marvel actually looks like it's on track to do better than Solo, and good for the whole gang of them. But, you know, in looking at the review situation, you know, Solo's reviews on, let's see, so all critics was like 70% and top critics was like 62%. Captain Marvel's is not far off from that at 79% for all critics and 65% for top critics. So, you know, doing better for sure, but yeah, I'd say within a degree or two of separation of, you know, being close enough, basically, for government work, as it were. And yet the reviews, once they turned on the actual audience reaction things, wouldn't you know it, vote brigading started again. And it's not like anybody's pretending anymore. It's not like people are actually trying to say this is a really bad movie. No, I mean, it's just, it's out in the open that this has nothing to do with the movie at all. It has to do with a different kind of agenda entirely. And I think what's kind of fascinating to see is that there seems to be a reaction building up against it. I, you know, saw while I was away that it had dropped down as low as 52% for its audience rating situation, Captain Marvel did, and now it's up to 55 actually, now that I've gotten back home. Not that it has anything to do with me, but I find it interesting that it's actually starting to tick back up, and I hope that means that there are folks who are deciding that they're going to, you know, make their voices heard and make it so that way it's not just vote brigaders that are dragging these scores down and making it seem like the audience doesn't necessarily like it, but that we're actually getting something akin to an action, or something nearer to what the actual reality of things is. I haven't seen cinema scores or post-track data for Captain Marvel just yet, but this is important because it leads up into what's going to happen with Episode 9. Because there's going to be vote brigading over Episode 9. There's no two ways about it. I mean, the gauntlet was thrown down with The Last Jedi, and it was perpetuated with Solo, A Star Wars Story, and in the meantime, it was also done with Black Panther, and it's being done with Captain Marvel now. We know what's going to happen with Episode 9. So, I don't know. You know, there was a time where this, you know, this user score situation, the audience score thing, like, you know, was kind of neat. It was kind of neat to actually be able to see what other people thought about it en masse, you know, and, you know, maybe something positive could possibly come out of the Captain Marvel situation if it turns out that the uptick that I've seen over the past couple of days in the audience score means that more people are getting involved who are, you know, might have sat on the sidelines because they thought, who cares? But now that there's some skin in the game on this, where it's, not just one, not just two, not just three, but 4 movies now that are really taking it hard because of this vote brigading business. I don't know. I don't know who wins in all this. Ultimately, it just feels like it's just such a big pain. I don't know why. Anyway, so hopefully now that I am back in the United States, some sense of order can be restored to this whole vote brigading business. Not really, but anyway, unfortunately, I think this is just a sign of things to come. So, take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a whole salt lick if you need to. That's going to do it, though, for this episode today. It is way late, and I've been traveling way too long, and so I'm going to call it a show, and we'll get back into the regular swing of things with Monday's episode. For now, though, it just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.